Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Michigan Football Postgame Live. Wish we had better news to bring you, but you know by now that it is over in Seattle. Washington beats Michigan 27-17. The Wolverines fall to 4-2 on the season. Joined by Jim Scarcelli, the former Wolverine. And Scar, let's jump right into it. Give me your thoughts on this loss, Michigan's first Big Ten loss.
Denny, a lot of guys looked like we were in a fog. Guys looked lost, looked confused, looked like they weren't ready to play. I mean, number 10 out there on defense, I don't know what his program was. We got guys slipping all over the place. What's up with the shoes, man? Why are we slipping? Donovan Edwards is slipping. Hill is slipping for the touchdown. So, where's Big John Falk, man? Let's get the shoes right. We made mistakes defensively. I mean, we spot them 14. We get behind. Tuttle gave us a spark. I don't know how bad that game would have been if they don't throw him in the game. And then he turned the ball over. They ripped it out of there. It's frustrating. The coaches weren't good enough, and the players were not good enough. I just haven't had a game like this in a while, especially defensively, where there's just a lot of guys that made mistakes. We let the ball outside the defense. Simple little runs should have been 4 or 5 yard runs, and then we don't got anybody keeping leverage on the defense. And that doesn't take talent, Denny. That doesn't take talent. But it's going to be a long, nasty flight home, and that's it, man.
Yeah, I don't know about the secondary. I'm with you on that. The tackling, the cushion, the screens. It was there, and the thing that jumps out to me. And you mentioned Tuttle came in, and he certainly did give him a spark. There's no doubt about that. But that Michigan went into this season with this quarterback room stands out like a sore thumb. And Tuttle. This reminded me of the 23 spring game. Davis Warren was throwing picks. Jack Tuttle was throwing picks. I mean, Michigan, the Tuttle's great, but, you can't go over there, fumble the ball, throw interceptions. I mean, Michigan still had a shot in this game with him up there. I mean, yeah, he brought him back and gave him some life, and then he threw it away. And for ORJI, for this staff, to think that he was going to be a viable option, I don't know. And they were watching him in practice. I mean, he hasn't done anything like where we've seen him in a few games where you would think that he was a good option. And it's the same thing with Davis Warren. And it's the same thing with Jack Tuttle. So I start there. I know it's a tough job, having a quarterback. But man, I saw that dude that is the quarterback for Indiana. There's a million quarterbacks out there that would be better than what Michigan has. How about the guy from Ohio U that ended up going to Indiana? He's scoring 40 points a game. Guy looks like he's going to be a draft pick. And Michigan was like, no, we're good here. I know they extended the season, and so the other quarterbacks had gone somewhere, but they couldn't come up with anything better than what they have here. I start there. You're right about all the other stuff. I mean, the slips, the offensive line, all of that kind of stuff. But when your quarterback is not a replacement level player, you're behind the 8 ball, and that's where they're at. So you can go to Wayne.
I get it, man. I watch a lot of football like you. I watch all these quarterbacks on all these teams. I'm watching Texas State. The kid they got out there better than anything we got. I'm watching Arizona. Trust me, I'm with you. I see that, and there's a lot of things in that decision. It's like the NCAA punishes teams that are making deep runs. They start the portal in December, and if you're we were playing football mid-January, so I get that, and you're right about that, and that's leadership, though, Denny. You got to make decisions. Those are huge freaking decisions that the leader has to make. And people got all excited about those 3 games. And what was old Scar saying? Well, the decisions are going to come. The leadership is going to come. He's going to face leadership now. Now coming back home, we got to get ready. Look what we got coming on the schedule now. Michigan State, Oregon, Indiana. We got to go to Indiana. We got to go to Illinois. You got to keep that football team together. He's got 3 quarterbacks. I mean, now you're going to get tested as a leader. But yeah, for whatever reason, they decided to stay with what they got. Was it because we were boxed in because of the time? Did they feel Tuttle was going to be better? Is he still playing hurt? I don't know. Is he still flopping around? Is that why he couldn't secure the ball? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. They have a bye now, and then they have the second half of the season. But none of those games that you look at, with the exception of Northwestern, you feel like that you put in the W column automatically. I know you don't do that anyways, but that you feel good about a victory. And so, the Big Ten championship and the playoffs, those look, I know they're technically, they're not out of the window. The Tigers only had a 0.2% chance to make the playoffs. So until you're actually eliminated, you're not eliminated. But, we're looking at this, and it's literally a daunting second half for this coaching staff. Sharon Moore, can he get these guys to where it doesn't fall apart, where you're not talking about
trust me, Denny, and that's
5 losses. I mean,
I get it, and that's he's that's where it's gonna he doesn't have a resume of where people are gonna just this is his first year, man, so he's gonna get tested but I just look at things on offense. I mean, let's get into this stuff. Do we ever look at anybody besides 18? I mean, it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9. They're double teaming 18, and we're still trying to jam it into 18. We got other guys that can catch the football. That kind of bugged me there.
It's a good question. They dusted off Samaj Morgan for like a play or two, and he looked pretty good, but that was it.
We got to look at some other receivers too, man, because people are just double teaming 18. They know that's all you look at is 18. Denny, we did some things. I'm looking at some things we did. We had some formations. Jeff Persi gets his first start in there. He did a decent job. Crippen was good in there. He did some good things, man. And, people talked about playing 2 centers, right? People were beating, people up for, why are we playing 2 centers? Well, guess what? Now it paid off pretty darn good. We had a kid that had a lot of experience, and Crippen was, he did some good things in there. Tuttle gets in the game. I'll tell you, as soon as he got in the game, I mean, there was a real shot of confidence with the offense, with the whole football team when that kid got in the football game. I think everybody sees that. Other than the turnovers, if he doesn't try to, get that ball stripped. But, then I'm thinking about Belichick and old Jed over there. Like, where the hell did this number 13 come from? But he did some good things in there. But yeah, Denny, I've said it, and I'll just say, I just don't think we can give people more than 20 points. Period. I think that's where we are as a football team. People get more than 20 points on us, we're in trouble, because I don't know how much scoring we're going to do. And I'm frustrated, man.
Yeah, the series, you're so right about Tuttle. It was such I don't know, it felt like an entire weight was off the team, and they responded to him. He looked good. They looked faster. They were running the ball. Of course, the Donovan Edwards took off for that touchdown. And then they even came out, people say, well, there's halftime adjustments. Well, they came out, their first drive, they were awesome. Amarian Walker on a 3rd down makes his first catch of the year. The ball, the longest pass that Michigan had completed. Samaj Morgan gets in there, and then Tuttle runs around and finds Colston Loveland. I mean, a play making, a quarterback making a play by moving around in there. You're like, wow, this is really amazing. But that was it. I mean, that was the last that Michigan had scored. It sucked because not the next 3 and out, but the first drive of the 3rd quarter when they went 3 and out, Donovan Edwards it looked like he had 2 lanes. They were showing one as a cutback on the TV. There looked like another one that he could have cruised for 10, 20 yards, and he slipped down. And the question about the cleats will be a good one. But then, Klein, the guy's got his arms. I mean,
that was terrible. Terrible no call, man.
Call, but, that's huge with Michigan because, the next series after that, that's the one where Tuttle fumbles. And, Michigan got their interception. Hausmann came up, and was able to get the big interception. And then, but Tuttle fumbles, and then, they give up the touchdown, and then Tuttle throws the pick. And I don't know, so you say this is I don't know if you're a Michigan fan, if you're just, mad, you're probably mad at everyone, but this is more just like you put your head down because, Tuttle's better than ORJI, but he's just like a lot like Davis Warren. And it was flashbacks of the spring game of 23 where those guys were just out there. Scar, you come on here every time and you're always talking about, hey, what's the key to the game? Secure the football. You say it all the time. That's all you say. Not all you say, but I mean, you always say that first.
It starts with that. You start with that.
And you have to, Warren can't play because he can't, he gets to ORJI. You can't play him anymore. And so Tuttle's the guy, but he's a turnover machine too. But maybe he could get better because we don't even know how much he's practiced. I don't even think he's been in there for a little bit.
We don't know. And then he hasn't been in a pressure football game in a while. But when I did see him starting the way he started out that football game, it brought memories to me when we competed against him when he was at Indiana. He was a pain in the butt when he was at Indiana. He was running around. He was doing the things like he did. But let me just say this about our defense, Denny. I watched some things real close. Okay. Wink tries to mix things up and create confusion and do things. And I agree with a hell of a lot of what he did. And I'm putting this game a hell of a lot more on players. Wink called defenses that had players that were in position to make plays. They were there in position to make plays, and they didn't do it. They missed tackles. They slip. So I don't, and obviously no one was good enough. Okay, from the head coach down. Let's start with that. No one was good enough. But there was a hell of a lot of times that I thought Wink had us in the right spots, and guys just did not make plays when they were just do your job, man. Lit the ball outside the defense. TJ Guy lets the ball outside. Hill looked like he was lost. Lit the ball outside the defense. So, we're going to look at the film Monday, but I saw a hell of a lot. And you talk about Zeke Berry here. Yeah, there's guys. I mean, he was right there. Giles Jackson looked like Anthony freaking Carter out there. We couldn't tackle the guy. He couldn't play for Michigan, so he leaves, and we couldn't even tackle him today. I just think, I don't. Coach Muller used to say all the time, all I can do is put you in a position to get you in the right defense. You guys got to make the plays. And there's many times as a player I failed. I didn't, and it didn't happen today. There's a lot of guys that were in position and they did not produce. And the coach put them in a position to make the plays.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. The whole second half, this is, Michigan, they didn't collapse totally against USC because they had the miracle run with Khalil Mullings, and the defense had to come up big on a final drive. But certainly they, USC made a lot of plays on them in the second half. They did, in most of the second half, collapse against Minnesota and hung on. And this wasn't a total collapse because they came out and they had the best drive of the season with Tuttle, the first drive of the third quarter. But so then it was after that. I know you say this is a thing that is smart. It's not halftime adjustments; it's adjustments all the time. And so so people are saying, well, what are the second half adjustments? Well, the second it's the first drive of the third quarter, and then there's been some issues. There are things like and I don't know, Washington. They're fired up. You're right, man. That running back Coleman and his jump cuts when Michigan You know, you're thinking about this run defense. Can they get a hold here in the red zone again? And this guy just comes out, makes that huge jump cut, and gets it down to the goal line. And but the secondary overall, those guys, they got the balls flying over their head, and even Will Johnson. I mean, Will Johnson didn't have.
Look at the end. You know, Wing brought everybody on that last interference there, and he was trying. Listen, we were trying to get pressure. Josiah Stewart got pressure one time when we brought 4 guys. We weren't able to get pressure unless we did things. Okay, we had. I see what he's doing. He's trying to create conflict and trying to do things to get guys freed up. And occasionally it worked out. But it was tough getting some pressure on that offensive line. Let me go over some players, Denny. Just some general thoughts. 92, Ike got some clock, did some decent things. You know, I'd like to see more rotation there. You know, 55 and 78 were playing their butt off, playing a lot of football. So 42 starts the game. Guy starts the game with Josiah Stewart. He started out, he did some good things, and then he just they lose contain. Him and Josiah Stewart at the end lost contain. We got, you know, we get off the damn field, and these guys are losing contain. 91, big Brandt in there on that throwback. They got the little quarterback in there at receiver, right, Denny? Yeah. Okay, you know, you talk about adjustments, right? Guess what? You know how much time you have as a defensive coach and as a defensive football player to realize that ain't no damn receiver over there. That's a backup quarterback who's out there at receiver. Well, you got to understand it like real quick. Like you got 3 seconds to recognize that. But 91 doesn't see it. He doesn't see the whole freaking line crossing his face. The running back crossing his face. You know, you look at the film, he doesn't see it. But there's some plays you can't show your team every single trick play that ever was drawn up. But there's some fundamental things as a smart football player you have to recognize. And you know, he hasn't played a lot of football, but there comes a point where, you know, there's some common sense things you got to see, and he doesn't see it. So as far as edge play, it would have been nice to have more in there, and him not being in there was a factor. I don't know why the hell Rolder didn't play at all, did he, Denny? 30?
No.
So you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking they're scrimmaging hard in practice, because you had a lot of guys that finished the game last week against Minnesota and they didn't play. So maybe they're beating the hell out of each other in practice. How do you finish the game against Minnesota and not play? You know what I mean? So I don't know. Because we didn't play 3 linebackers until the very end. They put 34 in there. Hood. So, but when I'm watching number 1 and I'm watching 15 playing tired, it's a factor. You follow me? You got to get those guys out of the game, man. When people are running through us and they're not getting off in coverage, it's because they're tired. You know, so you got to get them out of the game a little bit. And Paige on that big first bomb, he's got to get back into that middle half. That's his responsibility. You know, and then I got 20 here. He looked like he was in a fog. Like he had tennis shoes on out there.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game. No.
And same with you know, listen, that quarterback for them, that kid's played a lot of football, man. He's probably started, I don't know, 3 years for Mississippi State, 1 year. You know, he's played a lot of football, and he didn't make many mistakes. But you know, I'll give Jed some credit. Jed did some things. He did a little wham. He trapped our one technique. We haven't seen that all year. He screened to the short side. Remember, Danny, I told you people are going to screen Michigan to the short side of the field?
Yes, you did say that.
Because, you know, I see it. Everybody sees it. Wink likes to bring pressure from the short side of the field. And it is what it is. I mean, we got to have answers. Sometimes they guess right, and they did. But it was discouraging when they bring the little fast quarterback in there, and we look like we don't know how to defend the RPO stuff. You know, we don't even. Hausmann's right there. Wink's got the right defense called. He's right there, and we miss him. You know, and it's like you want to blame the coach. The guy's got the right freaking defense called. Tackle the guy. You know, it's like we haven't seen that play. We run the damn stuff. We should have defended it better.
Yeah, I'll let you get some thoughts together on some more players or some more series or, the halves or you look at. I think there's a lot of people, myself included now, like Steve, you look towards the second half. We talk about it all off season, the entire season, but we've watched them play the first half. We've already talked about the quarterbacks, and that's going to go to Sharon Moore, and that's going to go to Kirk Campbell. But now we've got to see what they can salvage. Nobody's going to think that they're going to win many games in the second half because of their issues on offense. I mean, the offense is everybody knows. I mean, they know. It's amazing. Like USC, we know that Michigan, if they have a third and short or fourth and short, they're just running it. They're telling you they're running it, and everybody knows they're going to run it, and they just keep running it. What I'm saying here is that what Kirk Campbell and what Sharon Moore are going to be able to do with the offense to see, because there's guys, Moore's job's not on the line, but certainly when you're talking about an inexperienced offensive coordinator and he had a hand in the quarterback room, and it's a gigantic spotlight. And I would also put the gigantic spotlight.
What do you mean he had a hand in the quarterback room? What do you mean?
Well,
you think it was his decision to determine what quarterbacks are in that room?
Well, he's the offensive coordinator and he's the quarterback coach. I would think.
You think he had the final say?
No. I think that he has a huge say in it. And now with
the leader, Denny, the leader makes those decisions.
You're right, but they're not blowing out the leader after a 4 or 5 loss campaign.
Well,
but they can take in what happens when you have a real disappointing season is that there are coaches that get moved and you bring other guys in. So yeah, I mean, Cam, I'm not talking about firing him today. I'm not talking about firing anybody today. I'm talking about the second half, that what are they going to be able to salvage offensively? That you go to the quarterback, but now this is what they have. What are they going to be able to do? Are they going to do something where you're going to feel good about them in the offseason? I know this is a long ways away. You look at it differently, Scar. I'm just telling you, these are how everyone else is going to be looking at this. Can the second half be salvaged?
I trust me. I'm looking at it same thing, man. I want these kids to win, man. I'm a former player. Yeah. I'm always cheering for the players, man.
No, I hear you. I hear you on that, and so it's a different story now. I think people were hanging on and hoping. Heck, I picked Michigan to win this game. I thought they'd be able to run the victory. I thought they would be able to line up, knock Washington off the ball, get a lead, and win this game. That was with ORJI as quarterbacks, but now. You start thinking about the Illinois, MSU, Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State. I mean, there's a couple losses in there. Yeah. And that's not going to be a fun second half for Michigan fans, obviously. And then, that doesn't make for a very fun offseason either. So, yeah, these guys, you're always coaching for your job. You're always playing for, you're on tape. You're playing for your future, wherever you're going to go. But the whole thing, Michigan had this, the way to put their team together with this is the block M, and this is a transformational, man. Harbaugh had it and it worked, and they used the NIL, and now you look at this thing, man. And I know, and this is more off-season talk, but you just start saying, man, they need this, and this, but the thing they need is a quarterback. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, because I look at a lot of real good things. With our offensive line, we had some injuries. The big Hinton was out, but we had a team that was prepared to go in there and compete. You lose your center and bam, you got another guy. That's a sign of a well-coached team. You lose a tackle and bam, you got Persi in there who was respectable. You lose your center and bam, you got Crippen in there. So those are things that are a sign of a good football team. When you lose guys and you can throw someone in there that's respectable. But let me just real quick, Denny. Klein is blocking his butt off. I'd like to see him throw to him more. It's obvious when Loveland's in the game, he's not going to be at the point of attack. They're just splitting him out. He's playing hurt. His shoulder's banged up. He's doing the best he can. I thought, early on with Alex, I thought maybe they had a little plan to try to get him running the football. There were a couple things in there that looked decent. Donovan had a nice run in there, and that was right away when Tuttle got in the game. I think when Tuttle got in the game, you see the secondary moving back now. You know what I mean? You look at the Washington defense when Alex Orji was in the game. Yeah, they're going to honor the quarterback keep, but they're all 6-7 yards within the line of scrimmage. As soon as Tuttle got in the game, the secondary was backed off. So now Donovan had room on that long run. So
yeah, that was the first series that Tuttle came in. That was the capped off by the 39-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, Blackledge is talking about Donovan Edwards and this, but hey, there was a difference with Belichick had to make an adjustment. Okay, you got this kid in here who he would have known what he did at Indiana. They trust me, they would have had his film. I guarantee you, they looked at what this kid did. They would have known what kind of passer he is. So they would have honored that, and then his whole game plan would have changed when he got in the football game. But Denny, something was kind of discouraging. We made that one first down on the final drive, and then I think it was on second down we threw a pass to Loveland, a first down to pass to Loveland out of bounds.
Yeah,
just barely out of bounds. And now we're 2nd and 10, and now we fumble the ball the next play, right? I think that's how it was, but because we were running the ball, we had first couple plays there to get that first down. We ran it in there pretty good.
Well, sure. I'll just say, the question to you is if they would have decided, let's put Tuttle up. I wouldn't have done that myself because, ORJI, you could make the case that if he makes that throw to Loveland last week, it's going to be 31-10. He's made some nice steps. Michigan's winning. And so, he's up against Washington, even though, of course, the pass was intercepted. So that was a huge deal. And then, the team most imploded. That would have been an interesting decision if they would have just had Tuttle up. There were some fans that wanted to see that. Let me ask you the question. Do you think Michigan, if they would have had Tuttle start this game, how do you think it would have gone?
I think he would have been the big thing, Danny, you also got to understand is the preparation for a starter compared to the backup, the amount of reps, the whole mental preparation.
Right.
You're getting reps with the first group. You're getting more reps. And I don't know how many reps he's had, in the last month in practice. I don't know.
First 3 series were remarkable. He comes in, he's running the ball. He's throwing it, and everybody's got a huge lift. I mean, you could feel it. Everybody could feel it. Donovan Edwards, you already documented how he had the 39-yard run. Tuttle's second series, he hits Donovan Edwards out of the backfield. He gets the big pass play down, and then they get an unsportsmanlike, so you're already almost in the red zone. But then, they got a field goal out of that one. But then they come out of the second half, and it's the drive of the year. Yeah, he's hitting Loveland again. He's on the third down. He's pushing the ball down the field. And he's hitting Amarian Walker. Samaj Morgan is getting involved in a couple plays there. And then he makes the remarkable throw, really. He's moving around, freelancing, and he finds Loveland. You'd say, oh, no. And then, yes, he makes it. So those 3 series, he was great. But then after that, not so much. 3 and out. The second 3 and out wasn't so hot because Edwards fell, and there should have been a call. Klein, who was getting bear hugged there, but then, fumble and then pick.
Yeah. The fumble was, you just wondered, is the kid strong? I don't know how. That's what I was looking at. Is he favoring a shoulder, an elbow, an arm? Can he secure the damn football? And then the interception was, it just zeroed in on 18. Man, you got to look at some other people. So the coach, our offensive game plan, if we're going to throw the football, you got to distribute the ball. Okay, I'm an old defensive coach. If I only got to worry about 18 and them other guys are just imposters out there, they're just standing over there, I'm not defending those dudes. Okay, so these guys are smart, and that's exactly what the hell they did on that third with the one pass where Loveland was defended. They put the extra defender over there, and we still tried to jam it in there. So, how about the kicking game? It was pretty. Their guy missed the field goal. We blocked the field goal.
He missed one too.
Yeah, and we had a holding penalty on a punt return that wasn't good, but for the most part, the kicking game was not a big factor. But we did block one of their kicks. Denny, listen, I'm gonna try to wrap it up here. I'm just gonna say this to you: Jerome Moore is gonna be tested as a leader. This is when you're tested, okay? Because you got 2 weeks now before we play again. You got Michigan State coming up, Oregon coming up, and he's got to get this thing rolling, man. You got receivers that are probably pissed off; they're not getting any touches, any looks. You got a lot of things going on, man. There's always players that are pissed that you're dealing with. So he's just got to he's got to show his leadership, man. I've been there, and we got to just keep the faith, man.
I hear you. We'll see how they move forward. We've got a bye week to think about all of the things that went on tonight and how they will put this thing together and move forward in the second half. Great job, Scar. Thanks for staying up so late. We will see you on Monday. Don't forget, everyone, we're on the Maize and Blue review. We'll be over there all night and then all day tomorrow, and then Scar on Monday. He'll have the film, he'll have the arrows, and he'll have the X's and O's, and we'll see. He's already said a few of these things that he saw by just watching on the TV copy, and now he'll be able to demonstrate and telestrate all of that Monday at 2 o'clock. So, Scar, we look forward to seeing you there. The final 27-17. It's up on the screen for those listening on the podcast. Michigan, unfortunately, falling to 4-2 on the season as they head into the bye. Scar, have a great night. We'll talk with you on Monday.
All right, Danny. Go Blue.
There he is, Jim Scarcelli.